because there's a lot of transfer rumours to get into. There's also been an interview with Roberto De Zerbi. Really interesting stuff. I mean, every time you hear De Zerbi speak, he always comes out with some interesting nuggets, doesn't
he? There's some corkers, some brilliant quotes, and there's some great ones in this one as well.
Yeah, so Ali Gold has been bang on it with his interviews with De Zerbi, and it's produced such nuggets. So let's get into it. First and foremost, we will be speaking about Micky van de Ven, because SZY has confirmed that Van de Ven is now close to agreeing a new long-term contract. We've been hearing about this contract for some time, and it's gone quite quiet over the last few months. But apparently now the contract is close, people.
And that's obviously brilliant to hear. We've heard ever since Roberto De Zerbi's come in, his attitude has completely changed. You've seen it on the pitch. He seems to have done a complete 180. Micky van de Ven has admitted himself, hasn't he, that ever since De Zerbi came in, he was on a downer. He wasn't happy with the situation. His body language was negative. That's completely changed now. And obviously, we've got Ismail Jan-Paul van Hecke through the door. Spurs are going in a different direction this summer. And it looks like we could be convincing Micky van de Ven to sign on the dotted line. And obviously, we've already done that with Porro this summer, which was a brilliant signing contract just before he had a brilliant World Cup. And looks like Micky van de Ven is set to follow suit. How much do you reckon he goes up to, matching some of our highest earners, you would assume?
Yeah, I'd reckon he's on around 180k or something like that.
Do you think he hits the 200?
Not so sure. I reckon 180, something around that ballpark figure. Which
What's he on now?
Significant wage rise. So right now, I believe he's on around 100.
Okay, so that makes sense. Obviously, there was lots of rumours with Liverpool flying around and you know, potentially other teams. But yeah, I would be delighted if he can sign a contract. De Zerbi actually had some words about him in his interview, which we'll get through, but I thought they were quite interesting when he was talking about Micky van de Ven. Wants him to be one of the leaders in the dressing room, and obviously he's now this is coming into his 4th season at Tottenham, so. You know, I think we saw some leadership qualities of him last season. I really hope he takes that in his stride this season.
Yeah, I'm just looking at it now. He's on 90. Obviously, Romero, who's about to go, is on 195. So maybe they just give him Romero's contract at 195, which will make him the second top earner at the football club under Tonali.
Yeah, makes sense.
All right, well, that is Van de Ven. You know, this Van de Ven and Porro thing could be the best 2 signs we make this transfer window, and we've made some corkers as well. But let's talk about Dejan Kulusevski. So this is a little snippet from the Roberto De Zerbi interview, but I thought I'd put it in the Tottenham update because it's interesting injury news. But De Zerbi says that Kulusevski is fit and ready. He's one of the best players we have in the squad. I wouldn't like to put too much pressure on him or accelerate the rehabilitation process, but I hope he can be available as early as possible. So positive.
It's good that we're talking about him because it's just been under such a cloud of darkness. It's like we don't really know what's going on with Decky and when he's coming and when he's going to be available. So that's great that he's talking about him and being ready and talking about him really positively. But as De Zerbi says in his interview, like, he doesn't want to put too much pressure on him. He doesn't want him to feel like he's in under a rush to get back. He said when he's fit, he's one of the best players in the squad, and I think we can all agree on that. Remember, in Ange's second season, those first 6 months, I think the level we were seeing from Decky was absolutely phenomenal, and he was probably at the best we had seen him. And unfortunately, you know, the injury hit, and he's now been out for a while. But if we can get Decky anywhere near his best, we've got a real asset on our hands, and we've got a player who's versatile, can play in different positions and adds real quality, adds physicality to the squad as well. So let's hope we can see that Decky at some point this season. I'm not expecting it early. I don't know when to expect anything. I'm not expecting anything, to be honest, from Decky this season. If he's comes back and he's fit and he's available, then fantastic. I don't think, unfortunately, we can rely on him. But the reality is, if he shows he's fit, he shows he's available, he will get opportunities because he is that good. So let's just hope that comes to pass at some point this season. I'm really happy De Zerbi's talking about him. But I want to see him on the pitch first before I get really excited. I want to see, you know, maybe he make a pre-season game or whatever, him back in training with the team before I start thinking about him actually providing an option.
Yeah, I think, you know, a lot of people are saying that maybe what he's saying kind of conflicts each other because he says he's fit and ready, but he doesn't want to put too much pressure on him. But I don't really think that conflicts anything. I think, he's probably saying he's fit and ready, to start training and stuff, but no pressure to start playing again because he's been out for so long. I think yesterday was 450 days since that injury.
Wow.
Which is nuts. So, no pressure to get him back on the pitch, but it's good. It'll be good to see him back in training, that's for sure. Yeah,
and when you look at our forward options, obviously a lot of people are judging them about basically not even including Decky as an option, but if he can, come in back into the fray, what an option and what a player to come back and provide something for the squad. He's such an incredible player, and I think De Zerbi would love him, but it's all about just trying to get him as fit as possible.
Yeah. So moving on to some transfer news, there actually is just something breaking as we speak on Mikey Moore. Florian Plettenberg says that Cologne and Tottenham are now in advanced negotiations for Mikey Moore. Cologne are confident of reaching an agreement very soon. The current plan is to loan without an option to buy. The deal is on, and that's just been confirmed by Fabrizio Romano as well. He says that Mikey Moore is one step away from joining FC Cologne on loan. So, yeah, big move for Mikey.
Yeah, it looks like the decision has been made, and I'm really excited for him because this is another step in the right direction of it with his development, another step up in kind of quality in football in terms of league. Obviously, he's taken last season's loan in his stride. It was a bit of a struggle at the beginning, but he ended up getting Scottish Young Player of the Year and really showing what he's capable of at a big club. And now it's time for him to make another step up. And playing in the German league, he should really be able to show off his attacking talents, and he should be able to show off what he's capable of. So going to be taking a keen eye on Cologne next season and see how he gets on. I'm really excited to see him out in the Bundesliga.
Yeah, so FC Cologne, I think they just about escaped relegation last year. I think they finished like 17th or 16th around there in the Bundesliga. They had Said El-Mala. I guess, we spoke about it, didn't we? It very much probably depends on Said El-Mala how significant Mikey Moore's minutes will be next season. So hopefully El-Mala we'll get a transfer somewhere because that could stagnate his development.
Yeah, that's the one worry I had. If they keep El-Mala, that's a player in Mikey Moore's best position, who right now is ahead of him, and he's got a lot of big clubs after him. So if he ends up staying, there's a risk that Mikey Moore's kind of game time be limited. I would like to think they've chosen Cologne because they've had those discussions and they see him fitting in regardless of whether El-Mala stays or not. They see him fitting in the first team, and the reason why we've picked Cologne, because there's been reports of Mikey Moore having other options on the table, and the reason why they've gone in this direction is because there's guarantees that he will be picked and there will be game time. So I'm hoping that's the case, but I'm just thinking logically, and as you say, El-Mala's there and he plays in Mikey Moore's best position, so either Mikey Moore will be on the bench or he's going to be shunted out into a position that he's not as comfortable with, maybe on the right-hand side. So I hope that's not the case, but I guess we'll see. Maybe they've got a new position. Maybe they're going to change their formation. Could he be playing El-Mala more in the 10 and more on the left, or maybe vice versa? I know they've been playing more of a 4-4-2, but maybe they put El-Mala in one of the forward positions and move Mikey Moore out left. Well, let's wait and see what the plan is.
There has just been a confirmed news from Alistair Gold as well, as we're speaking, that Reece Russell-Denny, who obviously was on the tour with Tottenham and he got on for a couple of minutes, has confirmed a loan move to Bristol Rovers of League Two. Very high hopes for Reece Russell-Denny in the academy. I know a lot of people raving about him. Haven't seen him play too much, but I know that he does have bundles of talent, central midfielder going out to Bristol Rovers. So hopefully we wish him the best, and that's another confirmed.
And that's where
Tottenham Hotspur.
That's where Yusuf was, wasn't he? Kramaric. Bristol Rovers had a pretty good loan spell. Not heard too much about him, by the way, this summer, but let's see what happens. But yeah, good loan move for him, and let's see how he gets on.
And another confirmed deal from Alistair Gold on Mason Meslier. He has gone to Lincoln on loan. Medical has been done. So that is a completely done deal. Mason Meslier to Lincoln City in the Championship as well. Lincoln, their fans are all singing Tottenham away, LA, LA. Unfortunately, they're not going to be able to play Tottenham next season, but they've got one of our star youngsters on loan. So congratulations to them.
Yeah, it's a big kind of step up, isn't it? I know he's been called up to the Irish national team, and There's a lot of hype and a lot of excitement about Mason Meslier, the young forward, the Irish forward, and he was obviously played in the first division of Irish football, even at as young as 15, I think he was playing and scoring goals. So there is hope that maybe he's physically more ready than other youngsters because he's been playing like against other adult males, like adult players for a long time. But the Championship is a massive step up for him, and it's a massive test. So, and especially as well, he's playing for a team who just got promoted. So you envisage there's going to be a bit of struggle there. It's not going to be the easiest loan deal, albeit Lancashire did go to a promoted team last season and did pretty well. Lancashire's a bit older, obviously, but he went to a struggling team and he did well. So let's hope Mason Meslier is up for it. I would have thought, I would have assumed that his first loan spell would probably have gone to a lower down division, but going straight to the Championship, and if he has a great loan spell, then all of a sudden we could have a real prospect and talent on our hands.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think this year, whether Lincoln do well or not, it'll be a fantastic step in his development playing. If he is the starting striker for Lincoln, playing week in, week out in that league, which is a very physical league, I think will do him the world of good. So let's hope he goes there and smashes it. Obviously, we'll be keeping a close eye on him as well. But that is Mason Meslier. Done deal to Lincoln City. Now let's get into the meaty stuff. Let's get into the real deal.
Stuff you're really here for.
Let's get in to Cristian Romero, as there have been some developments in the Cristian Romero deal. As you can see on screen, Atletico Madrid have been upgraded to high interest, as Matti Moretto says Atletico Madrid are going all out for Cristian Romero. They're already preparing for their first bid of around 30 million euros. I mean, I'm not sure that's all out, but they are going and making moves for Cristian Romero. Fabrizio Romano says that Atletico Madrid are preparing a bid for Cristian Romero to be submitted after the next sales of Molina and Ruggeri. And why that is interesting is that Matti Moretto, I think, has just confirmed that Ruggeri could be going to Aston Villa now. Bid to be in line with Inter's previous proposal. Inter had 40 million euros package in place with Spurs, but nothing done on the player's side. Simeone wants Kuti, as Marca have reported. I mean, you called this spot on. You said, when the Inter deal was looking like it was happening, you're like, you wait for Atletico Madrid to come in. And then here they are.
I always felt like that was the one Romero really wanted. Obviously, with Simeone at the helm, they're the ones more likely to stump up the cash that we're gonna closer to what we want. I think the biggest mistake potentially we have made in this deal, as at Tottenham's point of view, is if we have actually agreed a fee with Inter Milan on the assumption that there's no other bids coming in, and now Atletico are coming in on the basis that we're gonna match that bid with Inter. I think that's been obviously a massive misstep from our point of view, because I think if Atletico want the same deal that Inter are getting, which is understandable, reportedly Inter have agreed a fee which is really low, and now Atletico coming in and say we want to match that fee. Well, if we would have rejected that bid from Inter Milan, maybe we could have got more money out of Atletico Madrid if that's the case. So that's kind of disappointing. Regardless, we've all said the fee that we're getting is not going to be as good a fee as we could have hoped for Romero anyway. So regardless, we're going to be have to taking a fee that we're not happy with. I think Atletico, it sounds like with all the movements, not only Ruggeri, there's also Molina out the door, and there's another one going out the door as well. So they're looking like they're going to sell 3 players looking to fund this move for Cristian Romero. And I think Romero has been on record that he wants to go to La Liga in previous interviews as well. That's probably his preference. I also starting to get the feeling this whole Inter Milan deal has been I don't think it's not fake, but I think it's being used to try and get Atletico to the table. I don't know if Romero was ever that interested in going into. I think his number one has always been La Liga. So I reckon his Inter Milan move is being used by Romero's camp to try and get Atletico to the negotiation table, and it seems to have worked. And we know Atletico really wanted him last year. It didn't happen, but it seems like I think he's going to go there this summer.
Well, it looks Atletico Madrid have played an absolute blinder here, haven't they? They've played an absolute blinder, because they put in this kind of offer last summer and it was completely rejected by Tottenham. He ended up signing a new contract, and now they're going to get their man for a very similar price, if not a bit less. So, I mean, we laughed that bid out the door, didn't we, last summer?
Yep. And
now it's a bid, like I said, maybe even less that they're going to get him for. So, yeah, Atletico Madrid have played an absolute blinder here. I fully expect him to end up there, unless unless a Barcelona come in at the last hour, because I wouldn't completely rule that out. But at this moment in time, what the press is saying, what the reliable journalists are saying, that Inter are all in on Cuti Romero. And with these kind of centre-backs leaving, then I'm sure that Romero maybe has given Simeone some assurances that he is going to join.
Yeah, I think so. And I think he's always been the one that he wants the most. So, yeah, as I say, I think Spurs have made a mistake by agreeing. If it is true they agreed a fee with Inter, that was a big misstep. We should never have done that. Yeah, I think we've screwed up. I think this deal, from our point of view, it's a mess, and now we're looking like potentially only getting like 35 million for him. But yeah, I think hopefully this can be resolved soon, and I think everyone's going to be happy pretty much.